Hello, my name is Amara, and I am going to review House of Eve by Sadeqa Johnson. So, I listened to this book on Audible, and I usually don't listen to books, but it was really hard to find this book at any of my local libraries. So, I really like this book. I think the parallel between the two main characters is very common in books now. In this case, I'm not sure how much it worked for me, but I really liked this book because it kept me interested. I kept wanting to listen to it until I got to a certain point, and we'll get to that. But I did get attached to the characters and I did get really engulfed in the story. So, House of Eve is about a girl and a woman, really. One girl who is from the streets of Philadelphia. She has it rough. She doesn't really have parents like her mom. She has her mom, but her mom is not a very loving person in her life. And I love the way the book starts off. I think the opening scene is so strong. I was like, oh my gosh, when Ruby she didn't have to, but she was forced with this decision so she is a very smart girl and she's under this program called We Rise, and she is really trying to get to every single class and be the best that she can so she can get a full ride to college. So she is forced basically for 25 cents to kiss her mom's husband. He was like, yeah, you want that money, baby? Give me a kiss. And I was just like, ugh, because the way they described him, like he was just totally unattractive. He smelled like liquor. It was disgusting. And then from there, they got caught. Well, she was just trying to peck him, but he started grabbing on her boobs, and so the mom walked in and of course blamed everything on her, and she left. And we spend the rest of the story with her Aunt Marie, who I loved. I thought Ruby's story was amazing. I loved all the characters. I loved Ruby, Shimmy, especially Ruby. I thought every decision that she made sense to me, even though it was heartbreaking, all the things that she went through, but I could identify with her and follow her story. So that brings me to Eleanor. Eleanor, I did like her at first, and I thought it was super cool to see a book based on an HBCU in the 50s, I think it was. I thought that was I love the environment. And her roommate was really cool, Nadine. Eleanor, I didn't love her character. I'm gonna be honest. Like, at first I was like, oh, she's cool, she's cool. She had a crush. It really felt like a romance at first. Like, she had a crush on William. He liked her because she was like the quiet girl. And then you had the stereotypical mean girl, Greta, and, the sorority and like all that stuff. And then once her and William got together and they got married, stuff started to shake up. And that is when I stopped liking Eleanor's story, to be honest. Like, it would flip between like Ruby and Eleanor, and I would get upset. Like, when it would go back to Eleanor, I'd be like, what now? Like, I really just felt like Eleanor's decision making was like, and I felt for her. I honestly didn't have any issues with her during her infertility problems. I really felt for her, and I felt really sad for her because she was so excited to have her baby. But William, I really liked William too, until it was like revealed that he was being deceptive, and he told his mom. So as a reader, we were led to believe that he told his mom after Eleanor specifically told him not to, that he told his mom about the adoption. And from there, I was like, William's out of here. I don't like William. So I'm like, who do I like now? Because I don't like Eleanor, I don't like William, and I definitely don't like Rose. And I want to explain myself more about this Eleanor character. I did not understand why Eleanor, after Rose had already found out about the adoption, she was the main person that she didn't want to know about the adoption because of the shame, right? So why are you still keeping it from your mom? Why are you still keeping the adoption from your mom? Why are you still keeping it from your best friend? Didn't make sense to me, because I'm like, these people love you. I don't understand why. Like, are you that insecure? Like, and I get it, like, this is the 50s, and I don't know, like, the shame that was probably attached to that, but I feel like you need that support right now because your husband, you can't even trust him right now. So eventually, and this is another thing that I had issues with the Eleanor story. So eventually it came out that Rose, William's mother, and William had actually went to the adoption agency before they brought it to Eleanor and kind of orchestrated this whole thing. And Rose's parents or William's parents came to the house and there was this big blow up, and Eleanor's like, how could you? And like blew up on everybody. And Rose's mom was like, this is why you don't marry a girl from the wrong side of the tracks. And I was just like, okay, typical Rose, because she was literally mean the entire story. She was talking behind Eleanor's back, never really to her face, but she made it clear, like, you don't fit in. We don't like you. We like Greta. We don't like you. And she made that very clear. And so Eleanor ran away. And all of a sudden, 2 days later, Rose has this change of heart. I just found that so unbelievable because I was just like, it just felt very convenient to me. I'm like, it was satisfying, obviously, because there was so much chaos in that story to the point where it was cringy. Like, there was so much chaos. I mean, the couple was just falling apart. But at the same time, I felt like it was unrealistic that Rose had this change of heart out of nowhere. And it just like perfect bow. And like all of a sudden she's a good mother-in-law. I'm like, and then she like came over to the house to like explain herself and like really just like apologize. And I liked that. I was happy about that. But at the same time, I just felt like there was no development. It was kind of just like, she's mean, now she's nice. And I kind of felt that way about Eleanor and William too. I felt like the characters were very flat and like one-dimensional, and they didn't have a lot of nuance to them. Whereas in Ruby's story, I felt like Ruby obviously was a really smart girl, but she did make poor decisions sometimes, and she had to reap those consequences. And I felt the same thing about Inez. Like, she had layers. Like, she was tough and she was mean to her daughter, but she had been through a lot as well. Marie was like funny, and like she seemed like the type of person that always could be herself, but then she got all dressed up to go to the White Town. So I just felt like a lot of those characters had layers. Like, even Shimmy was very interesting to me. But in Eleanor's story, I just felt like everybody was just playing their role. I don't know, maybe I'm thinking too deep into it because, I mean, the story kept me very interested and captivated. But I will be honest about that. I did feel like I favored one story over the other. And I do want to know whether she told Nadine or if she kept the secret from Nadine for the rest of her life. And I was kind of sad to find out that they didn't tell Wilhelmina that she's adopted, because now Wilhelmina is going to have to go through life wondering why she looks differently than her mother. And I really liked the ending scene. I liked how it was all tied together. And I liked how it was just amazing. Like, we got Ruby now meeting them, and like Wilhelmina's a painter. And I just thought that was really awesome. And I hope that we could get a second book. But in the second book, can we leave Eleanor out? Eleanor and William, I don't need no more of them. I didn't like it. I didn't like the drama. Just leave them out. And then we can do Ruby and Wilhelmina and having them cross paths with each other and like wonder about each other or something. And it be revealed that, like, I think that would be an awesome book because she's a great writer. And I read the author's note at the end, and I understood. I had a lot more grace after I read that. It helped me to understand Eleanor's character and why she created that character. So apparently she created that character because she wanted to explore infertility issues in a colorist society and what desperation will do, what desperation will make you do. So I understood that, and I did like the parallel between racism and colorism. And there was a lot of themes in this story. I felt as though in Ruby's case, it was like, you can't even come into our world. Like, it's not even an option. Like, people are screaming racial slurs at Ruby on the street. Like, there is no way for them to really be together, especially in the situation of class as well. Whereas in Eleanor's story, there was a difference in class, but not race. It was colorism. And so it was easier for them to build a life together. It wasn't easy, but it was easier for them to build their life together. All you really got was a few remarks and a couple looks. But, you know, I just felt like Eleanor's life was a lot easier than Ruby's life. So the comparison between the two was very smart. But anyway, I would give this book a 3 out of 5. This is a book that I have been wanting to read for a long time, and I'm glad I read it. I feel like I'll be thinking about the characters for a long time. And thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think about the book. I have not read any reviews. I have not listened to any podcasts about this book. So this is my raw, like, it's not based on anything else. This is my own thoughts. So let me know what you guys think. Have a great day. Bye.